So, what is it that you can tell from a name, Katie?
I think you can tell a great deal from a name. You know, for me, there's certain names that I hear, and I hear them and I think, ooh, and it's associated, ultimately it comes down to the mum or the dad, because they're the ones that gave the child the name. But when I hear screeched across the playground, you know, Tyler, come back here. You know, that's the Tylers, the Charmaines, the Chantels, the Chardonnays.
And there's no one shouted out, Esme, come back here.
I don't hear that so much,
Really?
nor do I hear, Ileana, trot back here. You know, you don't hear that, do you? But you hear, Tyler, come here. You know, that. And for me, that summarises everything. A name, for me, is a shortcut. It's a really efficient way of working out what class that child comes from. Do I want my children to play with them?
And why would you say, so if you then, from that, you go, OK, well, they're in a lower class than I am, why do you then not want your child
because
to be...
associated with that isn't just about class holes, it's about the fact that they probably haven't done their homework. When my daughter comes home from school, she'll say, oh, Tyler was a real pain today, let's say, because he threw his books across the class and the teacher had to lose her patience. There's a whole set of things that go with children like that are quite a disruptive influence in school, and that's why I don't like those kind of children.
But Monty and Ileana can still be nasty, self-centred airheads, can't they?
I tend to think children that have intelligent names tend to have fairly intelligent parents, and they make much better play dates, therefore, for my children.
Or,
sorry, pardon. I say, we wouldn't
they?
say that word.
Wouldn't
No,
you
not
say
at
that?
all. I think, you know, if you look across...
nasty, if you've got the class system at school?
I think if mothers were honest with themselves when they vote on that worm of yours, and they say, oh, their child comes out and says, oh, let's say a name, I don't know, Simon has asked me to come and play on a play date, and the mother will say, well, where does Simon live? What that mother is not, she's not asking about geographical location, she's sussing out, do we want to be playing with Simon or not?
Anna May.
Hello.
Go for it.
This is snort-worthy, Katie. I mean, I just can't believe that you're such an insufferable snob. And I can tell you that if you do let one of your little darlings go and play with a working-class child, they almost certainly won't come home singing My Old Man's a Dustman. It's safe, really, nothing's going to happen to them. Working-class children are doing incredibly well, and for you to categorise at state schools, and for you to categorise them because of their names, which they didn't even choose themselves, is cruel and unkind and so snooty. It's just so old-fashioned. And, yeah, I don't know who your children are mixing with, but it's not the children's friends who will make them do well in the end. And I can also tell you that on Friday I was at my daughter's graduation. She qualified as a doctor. I've got 2 doctors in the family, went to state schools. I'm the daughter of an Irish immigrant. And there were Dr. Kylie's graduating, Dr. Charmaine's. So tell me, if you were sick or one of your children was sick, would you let a Dr. Kylie treat your children? Or would it be too appalling because they're working class?
Well, the lawyers I work with, I can't think of a single Charmaine nor a Kylie.
Okay,
I don't meet many myself. I meet a lot of Horatios.
Charmaine Cree, the Australian Paralympian gold, silver and bronze medalist. Tyler Cowan, New York Times journalist and professor of economics. Brandon Flowers, musician, lead singer of the Killers.
You say that to me, and I hear those names. I mean, I think it's probably what we all associate with children we know that have those names. I hear that last name and I think, hasn't done the homework, will always rock up late, has the mother signing in. Reason for being late, running late.
Are your opinions not really restricting your children?
They are, but you know what?
But
we haven't got a lot of time. We haven't got a lot of time.
Why would you do that?
We are really time short in this world, and we need shortcuts to make decisions.
That's why you shouldn't be sneering at people, Katie. It's about
very
sneering.
Quick. It's about making fast choices for your children that you think are for the best.
I know,
and one day they'll get to do their own thing.
My friends at primary school were from all sorts, and they're the people who've seen me through my life, through illness, through bereavement, through having my own children. And now I don't even think about where they came from, what their names are. They're just my dear, dear friends. And you're really robbing your children of the chance to be decent human beings. It's about kindness. It's not noble. I'm a pushy mum. I'm a self-confessed.
It's very real.
I'm a self-confessed pushy mother. And I'm a working-class girl.
I don't buy that.
You must have missed out so much in your life if you don't see that as being...
All together, ladies, you're all talking
Sorry,
together.
I can't help but get involved.
When parents come up to me, they'll say, I read your article or whatever about, you know, what children are called and the fact you wouldn't let your children play with them, and they'll say, I wouldn't say it, but that's what I do
Well, snobs
Loads
attract
of
snobs, what can we say?
Loads of women are doing the
My
same
name
thing.
is Anna May, and I was not allowed to play with certain children when I was at school because their families knew I was an Irish immigrant. And yeah, I have to say that me and my children have gone on to do a whole lot better than some of their children. Now, that's not bragging, that's just a fact. So they should have really betted on me because I probably would have helped their children do well.
All right, Katie, so that's your view on Christian names. So what happens about surnames then? Do you judge someone on their surname?
That's sinister.
Surnames, no. I mean, I don't really get involved in surnames. I don't really know many of the surnames of the children of the friends of my children, so I wouldn't judge them on their surnames. It's
Because
just
you're on
that,
very dangerous territory. You start to judge someone on their surname, aren't
well, as I said, I don't judge people on their surnames, but certainly I do make a very quick decision based on their first names. And there's a whole bunch of first names that I don't like. I don't like footballers' names. I don't like names after seasons of the year. I don't like geographical location names, celebrity names, things like Apple, things like, you know, Tilly Fizz or Jolly Apple, whatever they've decided to call their crazy.
Poppy.
My child's called Poppy.
Yes.
It's a
Well,
flower.
it's a flower.
A geographical
classical.
seasonal.
No.
They're not
Oh,
much Latin.
Poppy's quite
You should
jolly.
call it to the Latin name for Poppy. That would have been really posh.
Interestingly, though, other people have criticised me for calling her Poppy because they say Poppy's a naughty name.
So
parents do
what
criticise
about
each other.
geographic stuff?
Geographic. Oh, so Brooklyn or London.
Your
or...
child's called India.
Yes, but, you know, that's because it's not related to a location. That's because it's
India
related
isn't
to
a
a
location?
family. No.
We're talking about education?
India's a very, very lovely name for a very lovely child.
I think Katie was on gas and air when she chose those names.
Yeah, I think you'd sort of, it's a little hollow.
I think
You're
they're
doing it
beautiful. I
yourself.
think you've chosen beautiful names for your children, and I would never think to judge them by that.
I do
until I
judge
met
children
them.
by their names.
That's
I do make
terrible.
assumptions, and lots of
Listen
other
to what
parents
you're
do.
saying. You judge children
Yes.
on their names.
Yes, Holly.
Katie,
yes, I
that's-
do that, Holly,
it's
because
extraordinary.
Where does it get you,
typical.
Katie? Where does it get you and your children to do that? How is it moving you
It's
forward?
for me. It's about the fact that it makes me allowed to make very quick decisions about whether the sort of children that I want my children to be playing with.
Are
And
quick
lots of other
decisions
mums
always
do it.
right decisions? Quick, you made a quick decision.
I
and it's a
have.
load
I've
of
managed
rubbish,
to fast
isn't it,
forward.
really?
I mean, it's funny that we call our children names before we even have them, before you've even taken a look at your child, you'll give it a name. I think
Well,
that's
this
a
is
strange
you
thing
have an
too.
issue with people calling their children names that may mean beautiful or something. When
Well,
they...
you end up with a terribly ugly kid called Bella. It's quite strange.
That's so cruel. I can't
Terrible,
go.
isn't it?
Yeah.
My daughter's
Sneering
called
at
Belle.
children.
My daughter's called Belle.
Philip, you have a funny face.
Well, no, I just
don't
only
know what to say.
Well, my daughter's called Belle, so that you would maybe have an issue
But she's
with that.
probably quite beautiful, Holly.
But
Taking a look at the
but
mother.
she has a beautiful soul. She's beautiful. She's a beautiful child in many ways, other than the way she
Well,
looks.
OK, and I'm sure, Holly, but I can't envisage a child of yours not being. But when I
that's
see Tyler
regardless. So it
and
doesn't
Tyler's
matter.
mum, it's a very different thing.
Katie, are your children only allowed to play with good-looking children as well?
No, because
So
clearly...
you let the ugly ones in, as long as they're
I have
posh.
to.
Yeah,
I don't
as
have
long
a
as they're
choice in
posh.
that matter.
As
Let's
long as
take a
they're
look at
posh,
the
doing their
candidates you're
homework.
talking to.
Well,
As long as they're doing their homework, they
and
arrive
they're
at school
posh.
on time, they're dressed in
They've
the
got
right
good
uniform,
prospects.
they're trying hard, they've got good prospects, they've
And
got
their
intelligent
parents
Those things
don't
are
like
fine.
bingo.
Yes,
Parents don't
there's
like
my
bingo.
list. There's
Stop,
my
settle
list.
down.
Let's have a look at the worm. Let's have a look at the worm.
I wonder
what
what-
have you been
what
saying
the
at
worm's
home?
gonna do.
Right,
Oh.
should you judge a person by their name? Anna May, 91% agree
Yay.
with you.
9%
Katie,
said
only
yes,
9%.
9%.
To be
But
honest,
still,
I think that worm might be called Tyler. That's all I've got to say on that
I like
worm.
the
That
name
worm is
Tyler.
never my friend. You can't.
I do like the name Tyler.
Can't.
Right, let's go see what Stephen thinks in the hub. Thank you.
Well, let me tell you, this is going nuts. You've been talking about Tyler. Well, Katie, Tyler has emailed. Good morning, Tyler. And Tyler says, how dare you? I've just got my PhD and I'm from a very working class family. What a sweeping statement that you are making. That's what Tyler thinks. I'm just going to keep saying Tyler. Emma Dilton, I'm guilty of this. My 9-year-old made friends with a girl called Chardonnay and my stomach turned. I completely judged the poor children, but alas, I was right. She was expelled last week. Wow. And last one for now, Maddie Roberts. I hate to admit it, but I do agree with Casey as well. So I just done that one. Amy has emailed, who cares if a child has a name that you don't like? Fancy's saying to your child, you're not allowed to play with that boy because he's called Brendan. I quite like the name Brendan. Keep your comments coming in.
Final point here. So, if your child, if India or Poppy or Maximilian come home to you and say, my best friend, Chardonnay, would like to come round for supper.
Oh, that wouldn't happen because I'd have shortcutted that out a long time before. We don't achieve best friend status with Chardonnay.
But you can't- later
Someone
on-
named after
later
wine
on-
is not coming through our home, are they now, Philip?
No, and she'd probably eat her peas off a knife anyway, Philip, so she wouldn't last.
She's more of a
If she
probably
got through
black
the door.
tower or a blue nun.
Oh, stop. Stop right there. Thank you very much. Right, Darren Brown is here after the break.